All right, time now for perspective. Today's guest, Jonas Pariente, the founder of Grandma's Project, a website compiling short 8-minute videos of recipes and stories from grandmothers around the world, filmed by their grandchildren. Now, if you're older, you'll enjoy this. It's authentic cuisine. Perhaps it will make you nostalgic. If you're younger and think of yourself as a foodie, get educated on what food is from the old world. And you'll want to get your camera out and film your grandmother. Well, first question, Jonas, thank you for coming in to speak to France 24. I want to begin by asking, you're making this website sort of a collaborative, cooperative project. Why not just do a documentary about your own grandmothers, then turn it sort of into an open public project?
Well, I could have done that, and that's how it started. Back in 2005, I actually started filming both my grandmothers. And so one is Polish, and my mom's mom was Polish, and my dad's mom is Egyptian. And that was the idea originally, to kind of show them and maybe like have an intercourse between their stories. But eventually I had to drop that project. I moved to live in the US, and I started doing other stuff basically. And when I returned to France, I had met a lot of filmmakers in New York, and also my grandma had died in the meantime. And so basically, I figured that it would just have a broader scope and also another layer to it if I was asking. At the beginning, I started asking my friends who were from Brazil, Croatia, wherever, if they would like to make a short film about their own grandmother, and that we would kind of share them on a platform. And I think that, I mean, you know, just like my film maybe touches you because you find it intimate, or somehow it reminds you of your grandma. I think that if you add an Indian grandmother to it, and a Japanese grandmother to it, and a South American grandmother to it, it just keeps building up something different. And also I think that all those grandmothers, even though they're from countries that are different, they do have something in common, and that was one of the things I was trying to achieve.
The more we're different, the more we're alike. Well, I believe we have the clip of your grandmother, Nano. Let's take a look.
Les blancs de poulet qui me restent, demain tu prends.
Non mais attends, parce que les blancs de poulet, c'est pas ce dont j'ai le plus besoin, je t'avoue, parce qu'on en a encore et on n'en mange pas tant que ça.
Alors dis-moi ce que tu veux. Tu veux steak haché, du foie, tu veux poulet casse. Tu veux des boulettes? Tu veux qu'est-ce que tu veux comme poisson? Colin ou pas? 6. Tu veux brioche pour le matin? Tu aimes les fèves? Tu veux pas de ratatouille?
Now, don't be alarmed. Those were not all ingredients for one meal. Instead, she was making Jonas take home a very large amount of food back to your home.
Right.
Wanted to ask you, did Nano enjoy taking part? Was she happy to participate in this project?
Yes, she was. She's a kind of shy, you know, so I think I like, she would pretend she does it mostly for me, and I think it's true. Like, she really wants to help me out, and whenever I tell her, like, I'm going on TV or we're doing a radio show, she's like, oh, whatever helps you in your career, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I think also she's, you know, kind of proud that she gets the attention, that whatever, because she never worked. She wanted to work, but you know, she comes from an Oriental background where basically women were encouraged to stay at home and cook. And I think that celebrating her hard work, you know, feeding us and doing all this amazing cuisine, hopefully makes her proud.
Yeah, we hear that in her story about how she had dreams of maybe becoming a doctor, but it wasn't to be. When I was watching these videos, it made me think of the American chef Anthony Bourdain, who he recently passed away. But one of the things about him was it's not so much about the food, but about the people. Who inspired you when you were creating this project?
My grandmothers, really.
Yeah.
I think that because I could tell as a kid, going to their places and staying with them, you know, and you know, being served breakfast or whatever.
Did you have any talent in the kitchen?
Personally?
Yes.
I'm trying, you know, I hope I'm okay. I think I have a good instinct for it, but I'm not very learned in the sense that I don't know that many recipes. Like, I still have my grandmother, Nano, and she keeps bringing food, you know, so I don't have to cook so much thanks to her.
Yeah.
But no, they were very inspiring, both my grandmothers, because, you know, you could feel the weight of their story because they were both kind of survivors, you know, they both migrated to France to escape wars or any kind of international crisis. And even though we had very simple relationship as I was a kid, I could still tell, you know, the depth of what they experienced. And for me, as they were cooking to us, me, but also my brother, sister, cousins, I kind of feel that we kind of their history also was passed down through the food.
You mentioned that your grandmothers being survivors. When you're dealing with people of an advanced age from the last century, we're going to see the traces of history through their story, whether it's war, immigration,
right.
sexism, oppression. Did you know that that would be such a common theme when you're compiling all these videos from around the world?
Yes, that was one of the goals, was to basically start from very personal stories. But by bringing them together, the idea was that there would be a portrait of a generation of women, and I think we're trying. We're finally achieving that because, as I was saying, like now the last film we just released 10 days ago is from an Indian woman, an Indian grandmother. But all those grandmas, either they're from former Yugoslavia or Americas. They still they do have something in common, strengths, and I think it's the history that shaped them really. And so basically we have this portrait of one generation of women, as well as all the big historical steps that they had to pass through, like the Second World War, the partition of India and Pakistan, the Suez Canal crisis in the cases of my grandma.
You mentioned the Second World War there. I think we have a clip of another grandmother. She herself has a tattoo, a prison ID on her arm from her time in an internment camp. Let's take a look at that.
T'avais pas encore filmé mon numéro?
Non.
Ah bon.
Il est pas net sur ta peau.
Il est pas net?
Sur ta peau.
Sur tableau? C'est pas normal.
Non, sur ta peau.
Il est pas net sur ma peau.
Bah, il est un peu flou.
Hein?
Il est passé.
Oh, il est jamais... Dis qu'elle est ridée. Tiens, je te l'étire. Tiens, regarde, il est vieux.
Bah maintenant, on voit.
La peau, elle a 90 ans.
One last question for you. I think you have about 11 episodes, the most recent one being India. What's the goal here? This is still the first season. What's the goal?
So right now we're working on developing the project on a bigger scale. So I'm discussing with potential partners in different areas of the world. And the idea is to find people to help us make 5 to 10 films in one region or one continent. And so hopefully by 2019, we'll have more films coming up.
All right. Well, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Grandma's Project. It's online. It's great. And have your handkerchiefs ready. You might cry once or twice. Jonas Pariente, thank you for coming in to speak to France 24.